Good morning, y'all. It's time for another tool review. And what we've got here today is a Dewalt 20 volt brushless XR 3-inch cutoff tool. This is Dewalt part number DCS438B, which should be just the bare tool. So, I have to interrupt this for a minute to tell you what I forgot to tell you when I was filming the beginning of this, which is, as always, I bought this with my own money for my own use. It's not a sponsor. It's not a sponsored item, and they didn't give it to me for free. I bought it from Amazon. I don't recall exactly how much it was. I don't think it was that cheap, but anyways, I bought it. It's not a sponsor. Like almost all of my videos, except the one pair of headlights somebody gave me, I bought it with my own money and there's no sponsorship. So now back to the regular video. So the reason I got this is because, like most people, I've had one of these. I've had this thing since I was 16 years old. I'm 51 or 2 now. And it still works, but it's air powered. And there's no air at the junkyard. So the reason I bought this is because I need to re-gear my Cherokee. And the problem is the Cherokee is my daily driver. And it's a lot easier to re-gear axles when they're out of the vehicle and I don't have to rush. So what my plan is to go to the pull apart and get some axles off of another Cherokee there that are the same as my Cherokee. And then I can put them on my pipe stands and build them in the shop, do the setup on them, new bearings, new gears, lockers, weld trusses on them, do all that work at my leisure outside of the vehicle and still be able to drive it to work every day. And that way, when I do get ready to change out the axles, boom, all I got to do is pull the Cherokee in, unbolt the old axles and bolt new axles on. Easy peasy. Keeps my daily driver from being down for an extended period of time, and all of everything, you know, if you're missing a part or something when you're building an axle on a stand and you don't need it to drive to work, it's a whole lot easier. So when you go to the pull apart, obviously you can't drag a 100-yard power cord out there and run your Metabo. They won't let you bring a torch set. So you're basically left with, oh, and you don't have air compressor out there. So you're basically left with battery powered tools. So I figured if I'm going to go get a couple of axles out there, the easiest thing to do is to go out there, take the drive line loose, cut the U-bolts and drop it on the ground and roll it right out of there. Easy peasy. That's where this is going to come in, we hope. So let's open this thing up and see what we got. Being a bare tool, there's probably not much more than the tool. So we got a big old plastic bag and cardboard. Alright, plastic bag. Open it up, comes with some Dewalt wheels. Let's see what we got here. We've got a multi-material diamond blade. We got another diamond blade. And we got standard abrasive cutoff wheel, that's what we're going to be using in this thing. Normally I use these 3M green wheels, but we'll use the one that came with it because why not? It's free. So we'll pull this out of here and the instruction book, and that's all that comes with it. So looks pretty good right off the bat. Fits in the hand well. Triggers right here. Looks, yep. Oh, looks like it goes forward and reverse too. So that could be handy. That way you can direct the sparks away from your face when you're underneath of something. And then you got this contraption on here Looks like it's got a depth adjustment. Looks just like a skill saw. And an attachment for a vacuum cleaner, which we won't use because that just gets in the way and makes the tool hard to use. We got a button here. Looks like that's the lock button, I believe, to take the thing on and off. Oh, there we go. That's so you can get to the bolt that holds it on. So, all right, let me look in the instructions and familiarize with myself with this real quick, so we're not wasting a bunch of time on film with me looking at a book and you looking at me doing nothing. And I'll be right back and we'll check this thing out. Okay, now I've familiarized myself with the instructions. This whole thing, plastic thing here, is for cutting tile and concrete and stuff, which is what those diamond blades are for. But unless something catastrophic happens to my bathroom, I don't see me using that. So in order to remove this, you drop this depth gauge all the way down and tighten it, and then you got a button right here for locking and unlocking, and you push that up and this will rotate off of there. So we toss that to the side because we're never going to need that. So now you've got the regular guard on here, and it nicely tells you forward and reverse with arrows because this is reversible. And the forward and reverse control is here. It tells you which way to push it. So for forward would be that way, reverse would be that way, and right in the middle is locked, which locks the trigger. That way if it's in your tool bag with a battery on it, it's not going to be turning itself on and tearing stuff up. So you got that control. Then there's also this control right here, which is, this locks your spindle. So in order to put the blade on it, they nicely include the Allen wrench right here on the front of the tool. It's got a holder. So you take that and put it in here and hold your button down, and that'll lock this spindle so you can turn the bolt. And this is a reverse threaded bolt. It's a left-hand bolt. So where normally righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, this one is righty-loosey, lefty-tighty. Anyways, so you take that out, set it down. Then this is two pieces here. You leave the bottom piece on there. Take your disc, slip it on there, put your plate back on it, and then tighten the bolt back down. So that's in there. Now I'll point out that most people who use this on metal, like I'm going to, are probably at some point going to want to take this guard off. Now, of course, I would never tell you to do anything unsafe, like run this without the guard on it. You know, I would never tell you to do that. But there's 4 little Torx head screws here that you would have to take off to remove this guard. And I'm not saying that I'm going to do that, but I'm also not saying I'm not going to do that. What I am saying is that I'm not going to do it on video so somebody can sue me. Point being, if you're smart enough to be using this tool, then you're probably smart enough to figure out how to take that off yourself. Anyways, so you tighten your little nut back down on there. Make sure it's tight. And Now we are ready to use the tool. So we've got ourselves a Dewalt 20-volt battery here. It led a rough life and fell off of the roof of my shop when I was putting my metal roof on, so it's taped up pretty good, but we'll slap that on there. And we've got it fully charged. And we'll go forward. So this thing has definitely got a funky sound to it, but I'm not worried about all that. And you can see it's got a light here that comes on when you pull the trigger. Well, all right, let me go get a couple of test pieces ready, and we'll give it a few tests. So I'll be right back. All right, so I've got a few test subjects ready. We got this piece of 1/8 plate, got a thicker piece of plate, and then we've got a 1/2 inch grade 8 bolt out of the scrap bin. So we'll see how it does on each one of these. So first, this piece of thinner metal. Probably want to move this up in here a little bit. And there we go. All right, so it cut through that pretty good. So this is not variable speed, it's on or off. Let's try cutting down through this. This is a little thicker. Well, that certainly wasted no time, making a nice cut right through there. I'm pretty happy. So we've made 2 cuts. Battery's still showing 3 bars. And we'll try this now. So this is our 1/2 inch bolt, grade 8. Let's see how long it takes to cut through this, because this is really kind of what I bought this for, cutting those U-bolts off of stuff at the wrecking yard. So let's give it a shot. Well, we managed to stall it, more because it pulled up at a bad angle. All right, cut through that, no problem. Still showing 3 bars. So it doesn't seem to kill the battery too quick. Now, I should note that I'm not pushing down hard. I'm not really putting any downward pressure on this when I was cutting. I was pretty much letting the tool do the work. That's going to be very handy. And the other thing too is when you're laying underneath and you're trying to cut a U-bolt, you'll be cutting like this. Let's see. Let's try cutting in reverse. I'm not sure how well that's going to work, but so we'll go in the opposite direction now. We're moving the bolt. Yep, it works in reverse. Not sure I'd want to use it that way, but put it back on forward. So it could just be my imagination, but it does seem to cut a little better going forward than in reverse. But it does work either way, and it makes pretty quick work out of cutting a 1/2-inch bolt in two. And the tool is not even, I mean, it's just barely warm. You can't even, I wouldn't even call it warm. I'd just call it above room temperature. No real heat. So yeah, that is jam up right there. I'm liking that. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Dewalt DCS438B cutoff tool. Handy, light. I mean, really the weight of this thing is the battery, which, you know, when you use a battery tool, you're going to have the weight of the battery on there. Without the battery, I mean, this thing probably weighs as much as the battery does. It's brushless. Hopefully that will give us long life and lots of service. It's certainly going to be a good thing to have when I'm at the wrecking yard, because cutting those U-bolts off of an axle is way faster than trying to take all those fine thread rusty nuts off of it. So hopefully y'all like this content and like seeing the tools as they're unboxed and used the first time. And like always, if I run into a problem with this thing later, and lock that, yeah, I will of course let you know. And when I do make the trip to the junkyard to get the axles, probably y'all will be with us then anyway, so you'll get to see it in action again. And I'll be using it in the shop here, of course, because that's a whole lot better than having to fire the air compressor up and build up air just to run that for a few minutes. So, appreciate y'all watching and supporting the channel, and we'll see you in the next video. Y'all have a good one.